Are you ready to become an escapreneur? Well, you are in the right place. Welcome to the Bye Bye 9 to 5 podcast, designed by brilliant women, especially for brilliant women who want to create the life of their dreams by escaping the 9 to 5.
Welcome to Bye Bye 9 to 5. And I have an amazing guest for us today. She is Miss Tasha Young. And she is with us, and I'm going to read you a little bit of her bio so that we can all get to know her as we start this episode. This is our passion and purpose episode, and we'll be running that for the entire month. And so Miss Young is a life coach certified in personal development by CAP Institute for positive psychology, emerging as a new online entrepreneur, helping women on their spiritual journey develop themselves in their purpose-driven life, their purpose-driven business. And Miss Young has a free gift for us today. It'll be her 7-day email challenge, and that will help us to address our procrastination. I need that. Called the Procrastination Free Zone Challenge. And the link to that, I will definitely put that in the notes for the podcast. But just so you will know and you can run right out there and sign up for it, it's at linktree/TI_Young, YUNG. That's linktree/TI_Young, YUNG. And you can sign up there, and I would definitely not miss this free gift because procrastination is something we all suffer with. I know this already. Welcome, Tasha.
Thank you so much. It's an honor. Thank you, really. My name is Tasha, and just to give you a back, the T Young. I own by T. I moved to Virginia, Philadelphia. When I got to Virginia, I met a girl named Tasha. And so I said, well, wow, I don't want to drown in all these Tashas. So I told people to start calling me T. And so somebody had T Young taken off Facebook. So I said, I'm going to spell it differently. So I keep that pronunciation T Young. So that came about my company name, which is also
Nice.
kind of sort of personal brand as well.
Nice. Very nice. So where are you hailing from today, Miss T Young?
Lithonia, which is Atlanta suburb,
Very nice.
ATL, hot
Yes.
Atlanta.
Yes, that's where I am too. Yay!
Whoop, whoop.
Us Atlanta girls hanging out today. That's very,
Yes.
very nice.
Yes.
So before we jump into all these questions that I have for you today, because what we are focused on in the Bye Bye 9 to 5 podcast is we are definitely focused on helping women to transition from the 9 to 5 and to actually listen to some women who have done it, who've been there, done that, and are able to speak into their lives and give them some just personal insight as to how they're able to transition and how this all works and how it can happen, that we can definitely have it all. So before we do that, can you give us a little bit of your story, Tasha, so we'll know exactly who you are and what has brought you to this point?
Absolutely. I'm a nurse by trade. I graduated from nursing school in 2003, got my diploma as a registered nurse, and I had to make a sacrifice even with that. My children were overseas with their father. We had split. So while I was in nursing school, I had a 1-year-old and a 4-year-old living in Japan with their father. Yes. So I was very focused on completing that. I completed nursing school, went to University of Virginia, got my bachelor's degree in nursing. So all throughout life, I'm enjoying this nursing career. And I made a promise to myself in nursing school that don't get stuck in one area. Work in a different area every year for the first 5 years. Because even at that time, I wanted to figure out what I was passionate about, even in nursing. So even in nursing career, within the first 5 years, I've done so much and I was exposed to so much and it opened so many doors that I
Mm-hmm.
started to get an idea of what my key strengths were. So about at the 5 year mark, I realized that, maybe I'll go into consulting. Maybe I'll leave this clinical setting, work for the insurance company, because I'm kind of loving something about my strengths in teaching and being in front of people.
Mm-hmm.
And so throughout that journey, I really thought I had it figured out. So 10 years in, I'm a consultant. I'm a nurse consultant. So I'm like, I'm loving this. I'm loving the transformation from consulting with clients, helping them solve problems. And then I realized I was also doing a lot of coaching. We got a lot of motivational interview training. And so
Mm-hmm.
at the 10-year mark, I pretty much was pretty resolved that I'm strong at coaching and consulting.
Mm-hmm.
So that took my career to another level, and I started getting opportunities in project management, business change management, process improvement, quality improvement, and I love those things.
Right.
And so that's when my entrepreneurial itch started, because at that point, I'm like always volunteering in corporations for startups. If they
Oh,
were
nice.
starting up a program, I was there. I was like, I want to do it. I want to do it. I know how to walk you through. So then I start seeing, wait, I love starting things up. And so I'm like, okay, I'm an entrepreneur. And so I said, I'm an entrepreneur. Didn't quite know what to do with that.
Mm-hmm.
2015, I get laid off in what I thought was my dream job as a project manager. And that's when all of the lights started flashing for me. And I had an opportunity. I was off for 3 months,
Mm-hmm.
and I had an opportunity to really focus. And I told myself, we're not going to panic.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to stress out. What we're going to do is take this opportunity to rebrand yourself and figure out what you truly want and love doing. And so I developed a consulting firm. I said, well, I love consulting. I love healthcare. So I developed a consulting firm where I contract with long-term care insurance companies. And really didn't take it serious. Really in the back of my mind, I'm still trying to find this big consulting opportunity to come for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where I am today. I was always on a journey trying to figure out how to nurture my passions and line everything up so that it it goes towards my purpose. Because I realized, well, my purpose in life is to really present informational education, and people end up making changes or experience a transformation. So by the time I was laid off, I realized that that was my purpose. I just didn't
Nice.
understand how to kind of line all the pieces up for that.
Awesome. Now, Tasha, that's an amazing story. I got a couple nuggets out of there, though. Very
Hmm.
important nuggets. Um, I remember at a point in life when I got laid off from a job. First time ever. It was kind of like laid off. I was starting a new job and they terminated that position before I started it. I was 2 weeks out from starting.
Really?
Yes. Yes, it was awful. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
And so I had never been fired before or laid off. So I laid in the bed for about 2 weeks, crying and uh, trying to decipher what's going on with me because I'd never had that experience before. And a friend of mine called me and got me out of the bed and got me over to his company and got me to start working with him through some things to get me back on my feet. And so, um, but for a minute there, Tasha, I thought my life was over. Although I had children and mouths to feed and everything else, I thought my life was over. And so the nugget I got from there for you was, um, from what you just said about being laid off, was that you immediately realized that you had to do something different. And you didn't miss a beat. You didn't lay in the bed but like me for 2 weeks. You just kind of went into action. My one of my sayings is, gotta learn how to take lemons and make lemon pie. I don't like lemonade, so I say lemon pie. And so
I like that.
that's a good example of your being able to do that. You just did not let the corporate environment that you had been in cripple you to the point where you felt like, now what am I going to do with my life? I almost made that mistake myself at one point. And so that's an amazing, amazing testimonial there for just being able to own your own power and keep moving. So
Mhm.
I know you talked about a little bit about at that moment finding your purpose, um, and not knowing exactly what to do with it. So just talk to me a little bit about maybe any clients that you have seen. How has that helped you, just being able to find your purpose and not knowing what to do with it, having to kind of figure that out? How has that helped you in your coaching practice with your clients?
Well, I took myself through that journey and now that I think about it, there was a lot of self-coaching from the time I got laid off until the time I decided to start a coaching business, which was
Mm-hmm.
pretty recently. So I did a lot of self-coaching. What I had to do when you're talking about discovering your purpose, you really have to take a look at your life and you have to ask yourself, how has people's paths change by coming in contact with you?
Mm-hmm.
And so that gave me an opportunity, and I always thought about it in the corporate world. I spoke to patients, helping patients lose weight, helping
Mm-hmm.
patients stop smoking, help patients face death and get into hospice. Those are serious and amazing transitions and
Mm-hmm.
difficult transitions that I was able to facilitate with them, helping corporations make changes and helping corporations listen to the voices of nurses and make change information I gave them. I had to really take a look at how was somebody's life different when they crossed my path. And I realized that, and I took that information through a lot of self-coaching and
Mm-hmm.
started to be very intentional about the actions that I was going to start taking after that.
Very nice. Very nice. Um, so now you are coaching women.
Yes.
Or are you just coaching women? I'm sorry, you are just coaching women, right?
For my business, I'm just coaching women. Yes.
And you talk about taking them on this spiritual journey. That's
Yes.
very interesting to me. Um, Tell me a little bit about taking women on this spiritual journey for you.
Yes. The journey that I went on spiritually within this past 5 years has been nothing short of amazing. There's been a lot of challenges, a lot of social issues that have taken place over the past 5 years that has really um, was the impetus in my tapping in and deeper within is looking at the world. And so I began to ask myself a lot of questions. I began to see a lot of conflicts between information that I've learned, information that I believe. And so that's where my spiritual journey really started, taking a look at the global social ills, really
Yeah.
specifically of African people. And it's
Mm-hmm.
caused me to look at humanity deeper. And so I had to
Yes.
go deeper and ask myself a lot of questions about my upbringing, about my belief systems, about my religion. And so these things have helped me chart the path that I'm on now. And so what I've learned in that journey is that sometimes it's a lonely journey.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wanted to create an environment and resource for the women who are experiencing life on the journey that I've had. You might be different. You might think differently. You might speak differently. You might see the world differently in terms
Right.
of politics, race, and things like that. But one thing I've learned that's important, no matter what our journeys are spiritually, no matter what religious faith we are, we're still all connected. And so I've
Mm-hmm.
learned throughout this to get
Yes.
over the anger, get over the conflict, and not have our differences be the thing that separates us in terms of how we see the world spiritually, but
Mm-hmm.
still have harmony despite how we see the world from our religious beliefs.
Tasha, tell me, why you think knowing your purpose, passion is at the core of the business. Why do you feel as though in order for us to move through that, we really need to understand our purpose, passion very well?
That's to be the thing that holds you through times when you are work towards a purpose. You're going to have several passions that all kind of feed to that purpose, right? And so if your business or if your venture is not tied to your purpose, then you're less likely to be able to add the highest value that's needed to serve who needs to be served.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, if I chose to say pick a lucrative makeup industry,
Mm-hmm.
makeup business to start up, and my passion, my purpose is not to make women beautiful, and they've never crossed my paths by being more beautiful or being impacted by my experience or skills and passion with beauty, I'm not going to be able to have or deliver the highest value. And I think
Absolutely.
spiritually, your life's purpose, I think all humanity, we have a purpose to deliver the highest value and give our all and be passionate about something. And usually you're
Mm-hmm.
more passionate about stuff that really is towards your purpose. It's driving how you help transform people, either it be a product or service, no
Mm-hmm.
matter what you deliver. Usually when you have a lot of passion in it, it's going to be very valuable to them,
Yes.
right? And so all of your passion and all your energy, all the efforts that you put into doing something usually is going to come out extremely valuable when it's serving a specific purpose that you have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So, um, when you, and I know you kind of meshed your entrepreneurial journey with your working life in a way in the beginning, but was it tough getting to
I
this
would
business journey? Was it tough? Was it tough?
For me, I don't see it as tough because I've always tried to hone in on things that I was passionate about. So there might have been more stressful times, like with a lot of restructuring, reorganizations, a lot of chaos in the corporations. But I always made sure that I was doing stuff that challenged me, that I loved doing. And that really got me through those tough times. So
Good.
because I've been very intentional about honing in on what I love doing and really working on where I'm strong at, tough times may be different than somebody else. So
Yeah.
they were tough times, but that was just the nature of the business. So I said,
Yeah.
okay, it can be chaos over here, but I'm still passionate about keeping order. I love process improvement. I love project management. And so I was always focused on honing in and strengthening where I'm good at because I always saw a lot of instability in the corporate world. So that
Mm-hmm.
really drove me to
Mm-hmm.
really honing in about what I'm good at, being needed, being a resource, and just kind of challenging myself throughout those tough times.
Yeah, I feel you there. Couple nuggets there, Tasha.
Mhm.
Just, you know, especially if you're a woman and you're working in corporate, you're working that 9 to 5, you want to be able to work in your passions while you're there.
It's
So
key.
many women are in that position and they're not working in their
They're not.
passions. So they're
Mhm.
miserable. So
Mhm.
kudos to you. It sounds like you sought out ways to make sure that you are working in your passion so that when you did transition to your business, even though you were in corporate, you weren't miserable. As you know, a lot of women are just sitting in corporate miserable, wishing they could do something different. You still took ownership. You empowered yourself even while you were in corporate, and that's amazing. It's great.
And I will tell you that that didn't the challenges with that is and being entrepreneurial is you can't sit still for too long.
Oh yeah.
So although I had those passions and I'm very entrepreneurial in my spirit and in my drive, it became difficult. It becomes difficult in a setting in a corporate setting. And
Yeah.
so usually about 3 or 4 year mark, that's when I start getting really antsy.
Yeah.
So that is a challenge when you are passionate about something, of having something of your own, and their vision, they're not, you usually see their vision for corporation, and you'll think, well, y'all not living out the vision and values and purpose. I understand it. I'm passionate about it. You got it. So that is the one challenge of working in corporate America. You see vision, you see purpose, and you see values, and you see value differently. And
Yes.
so that can be a conflict.
Yeah, yeah. You got that entrepreneurial itch.
Itch.
And so
It
you were
itch.
like, oh, I've had enough of this. I've done as much as
Yes.
I can here. So it's
Yes.
now it's time to move on. And that's another nugget. That's how you know when you're sitting in corporate America and you've had enough and you just really kind of feel like I've done all I could do here. So it's time to kind of move on. And you get that entrepreneurial itch.
Mm-hmm.
So are you happy in business all the time? Are there days when you just say, oh, I wish I could have a 9 to 5 again? Or are you pretty much just happy in business all the time?
I don't look for happiness. I look for joy.
Ah,
Um, I
there you
look for
go.
joy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm always at peace. I'm always trusting the process.
Mm-hmm.
Always very intentional, and I try not to focus heavily on things that are not working. So I have to retrain my entire way of viewing the world on this journey so that it gets me through.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and I just wanted to make a correction. I have not completely um, left my 9 to 5 journey. That is part of
Mm.
a strategy. And it's a nugget that maybe your audience can hear. I
Yes.
am still on a 9 to 5, but I have strategized a particular date for it to end. And it's two dates, either one, whichever comes sooner. Um, 1 year from start of my online business, or
Mm-hmm.
the completion of earning 1/3 of what I make in 6 months.
There you go.
1/3 of what I make in a year in this next 6 months.
Right.
So I'm very intentional about those two, and they are panning out. So I think it's going to happen sooner than later.
Mm-hmm.
So that I just want to correct that because I don't want people to think I completely stopped. But I made a plan and I'm intentional and I have a date. So it's going to end.
Yeah,
So
thank you. Thank you for correcting that. Yeah, so another nugget there, just, and I love to point those out, is just that here you are, a woman who is currently on the job, but still
mhm,
finding the time, the drive, the passion to really get your online business up and running. And you have your strategy, and your strategies are tied to your goals. So it's
mhm,
tied to either that 1 year mark or your financial goals around that. So definitely. Oh wow. Very nice. Very nice.
yes,
Is
yes.
it hectic, trying to balance the two constantly? And I can already tell from your personality type you're a high achiever. So that's that's even harder for high achievers, right? Because you want to be good at everything you do.
Everything. I need to
Mm-hmm.
get at everything. Um, I am blessed to have always gotten positions that offer flexibility and
Oh,
complete autonomy.
nice.
So that helps. And I know a lot of your viewers probably might not have that opportunity, may have to commute into work. But even with me, I have to create the work life balance.
Right.
And so I'm intentional about investments and return on investments. And so I intend to invest just as much energy and time into this as I do my full-time job. But I
Right.
have to be careful how I do it. I still need to have time with my family, my fiance, and things I love. So I set specific times throughout the day, and specific times in the evening
Mm-hmm.
where it cuts off So usually I spend time with my fiance and family. We look at TV. I make sure I debrief, no cell phones. And then I say, okay, after they get the love and care and attention they need, they know that, okay, I'll be in the office working on my business. And then I set an intentional time to stop, wind down, do my mindfulness activities, then just go to bed. So,
Mm-hmm.
I put in about 40 hours in addition to my 9 to 5, but my 9 to 5 is very flexible. And
Mm-hmm.
it's very autonomous. So it works perfectly for me for now.
Very nice. That's great.
It works perfectly.
It is great to hear an entrepreneurial woman who is still on the 9 to 5 find balance. Find balance. It can be done.
Can
You
be
know,
done. It can be
uh,
done.
I saw a recent posting in
Hmm.
a group where there was a young lady asking, should I quit my job? I'm on the job. I've got my business. Should I quit my job to run my business full time? I'm going to lose my income. I only have my husband's income. Not sure if we can live off just his income without mine. You know, there are ways to do all of this. There are ways to balance, but you got to have a plan. You got to have a strategy. And it's very
Absolutely.
important. Yeah, finding someone who can help you brainstorm that strategy and make it work. Um, Single-mindedness, I think, is a lot of what hurts business owners, especially women, because
Hmm.
we are so conversational that when we're having a conversation with ourselves, sometimes we're not having a conversation with the right person. We need a coach or a mentor or somebody else,
Absolutely.
yeah, to have that conversation with, right? Um,
Absolutely.
yeah. So
Yeah,
nice.
because and that's that's one of the reasons why I like to integrate spirituality with business development. Because on your spiritual journey, there's order to everything, right?
Yes.
Everything happens in a divine, universal, natural order.
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes it's a matter of giving clients clarity on when they make a decision, should I quit my 9 to 5? Well, if that's going to disrupt the natural order of things, that's not that's
Oh,
not that's not our intention to disrupt order, right?
right.
So if it's going to disrupt order, if it's going to decrease resources for people, and that's going to have a negative impact on people,
Right.
then no, you don't do that. Because you have a lot of people say, well, I stepped out on faith. If you true entrepreneurs, quit their jobs, they still had order to everything.
Right. Right.
Even you read about Bill Gates and Steve Jobs, they didn't just quit jobs. They were very strategic.
Yes,
Um,
they
so
were.
let's not mistake in that. They weren't just in the garages building computers and decided, oh, I'm not going to work. They were very resourceful. They understood the power of resources and the necessity of resources. So everything has to still be orderly no matter what you do. Otherwise, you're going to disrupt the balance of everything in your household. So we don't
Ye-
want to do that.
Yes. And just to talk about a little bit about that spiritual journey, you know, I have very deep spiritual roots, but I was always of the mind frame up until this past year
Mm-hmm.
that well, my spirituality was for everything else except my business. I
Mm.
really thought that. Now, as of this past year, like I said, I have just embraced that. Um, and my father is now the CEO of my business. I'm just working for him. And so I consult with him about all the things that I need to do in my business. And that is what helps me to keep it in order. And you're so right.
Awesome.
Yes. Hmm.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yes, order. Order is important because order
Hmm.
is natural, right?
Yes.
You go out into the world and look at nature, there's always order.
There's
And
always
so
order.
we don't
You're
we
right.
don't want to disrupt that.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good. Now, we're just about at the end of this interview. So, um, Just for giggles, everyone has some words or a word they relate to. I have been embracing the words happy, grateful, and giving. So if you had to say what your words are or word, what would that be for you?
I'm always talking about personal power.
Mm.
Personal power.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one.
I'm always, every conversation pretty much leads back to power for me, because I feel like we've kind of released our power to other sources, and we don't see the power that we have within ourselves to make world changes and changes in our business.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll always hear me talking about tapping into your personal power, and that's one of my taglines. That's one of I'm a 4P coach. That's one of the reasons why I always reference myself as a 4P coach, because personal power is one of the 4Ps: passion, purpose, and profits. So I'm always talking about personal power and purpose.
Yes, yes. Nice. 4 Ps. That was passion, purpose, personal power, and profits.
Yes, they all go together.
Mm-hmm. That makes
Can't have
sense.
one without the other.
Mm-hmm. And you're so right about that. We are really good for giving away our personal power. We give it away.
You give it away. Mm-hmm.
Yes, yes, yes. So to wrap up our interview, Tasha, and you have been an amazing guest on our show today, and I'm just thankful for you. Um, do you have some strong tips for some amazing women that are listening out there today, sitting on the fence, sitting in corporate America, sitting on the fence about starting their business?
Absolutely. I want you guys to really take some time and reflect on asking yourself, are you moving about in this life in your authentic self, right? If you're not moving about in this world authentically, then that means there is a bit of dishonesty you have with yourself. So ask yourself, what do I have joy in? What are my top 5 strengths? Am I honing in on those strengths? Or am I nurturing? How do people change? How do their lives change? What types of things I do that light people up? Am I nurturing this right now? Because that's the authentic you. When you are operating according to your purpose, then you are in alignment no matter what you do. No matter what you do, you're in alignment. And when you're out of alignment, you're going to find a lot of obstacles, right? Because the universe is saying, I have things lined up on a path for you. And when you are not operating authentically in who you are and who you want to be, and you're operating on who people think you should be and what they think you should be doing, you're going to always be off your path. You're going to always see obstacles. You're going to always be unhappy. So when you're authentic, it brings you happiness and it brings you joy. So reflect on that. Reflect on, are you operating in your authentic self as a woman? Am I getting the things that is meeting the needs of the authentic Tasha? If this is not what I want to do, can I say no and be resolute in it and not feeling apologetic? Am I taking on activities that are not feeding who I am authentically?
Oh, yes.
So it's key to follow an authentic path for nurturing the real you, the authentic you. And you'll find your purpose that way.
Very nice. Yes. Very, very nice. And one last question, Tasha. I cannot get you off the line without asking you this question. I am wanting to be your client. Tell me exactly, speak to this audience and tell them exactly what Tasha would do for them as their personal coach.
Absolutely. I'm Tasha. I'm your 4P coach. I'm a coach, consultant, and strategist. And so if you are on a journey into discovering who the authentic you is, what do you want to do? If you need clarity and understanding what your purpose is, you need clarity and understanding, why am I stuck? My life hasn't changed in the past 5 years. Then I am the person you come to, because I help you get that clarity that you need to help discover what your purpose is,
Mm-hmm.
What are those mind blocks so that you can take decisive action and have the life and business of your dreams? Purposeful, profitable life and business. Because a return on investment on your life is invested in yourself. And that the profit is a joyous, peaceful, and abundant life. So a
Mm-hmm.
profitable business and an abundant life. And I help you get clarity with the mind blocks that you might have, helping you understand what your purpose is. And I also do some consulting because I help you with some solution, developing some solutions to some of the problems that you have with some tools and resources, and
Good.
helping you set up a strategy. So yes, definitely, that's me, the 4P coach.
The 4P coach. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Tasha. You are a wonderful guest. You fit right in with the movement that we have going on here at Bye Bye 9 to 5. Definitely focusing on women and phase. That's my movement to get women back in the homes, working from within themselves creatively to make
Mm-hmm.
sure that they can cover the income that they had in corporate America and not having to sacrifice any of that, but still being able to work from home so they can devote their time to their children, to their husband, and continue to make the family unit better. And
Yes.
so, you are my sister in this journey. I appreciate you so much, Tasha.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure being here, Kimberly.
Yes. So please check out Tasha at
Mm-hmm.
linktree/TI_YUNG to get her 7-day email challenge that addresses procrastination. It's called the Procrastination Free Zone Challenge. Make sure to pick that up. I'm sure a lot of us are living in that procrastination piece, and we need to break free of that. And Tasha is here to help you do that. All right.
Thank you so much.
Yes, Tasha. I look forward to chatting with you again. We will definitely bring you back on the show at some point because I'd love to hear more about what you're doing after you have left your 9 to 5. So
Yes,
we're gonna
ma'am. Yeah,
we're gonna
it's going
wait
to
a
happen.
bit.
Yes.
Yeah, and so definitely we wanna bring you back to hear all about that journey to inspire some other women.
Yes. Thank
Uh,
you so much.
All right, bye, Tasha. A wonderful day.
Bye bye.
This episode of the Bye Bye 9 to 5 podcast has ended, but it doesn't stop there. Be sure to subscribe for more strategies and advice to help you move from employee to escapreneur, to have the kind of success you have always dreamed of without sacrificing family or time. And don't forget to rate and review us so we can continue to bring you the best content possible to motivate and encourage you on this journey. See you on the next episode.